punchline is.
Oh, I love black comedy.
You're wrong.
What?
This isn't black comedy.
Who are you?
This isn't black comedy.
Yes, it is.
No.
What?
No.
But Dave Chappelle is black and he's doing comedy.
While you are correct, it's not what black comedy means.
What?
Is Jimmy Carr telling jokes on stage considered white comedy?
No, I don't suppose it... Black comedy is a subgenre of media, particularly featuring feature films and novels, that focuses on the dark aspects of life to create comedy. The term black humour, from the French humour noir, was coined by the surrealist theory André Breton in 1935. Popular theories of the genre include murder, violence, death, political corruption, homosexuality, poverty, disease, famine, racial, sexual stereotypes, and war and terrorism. So all cheery topics. An archetypal example of black comedy in the form of self-mutilation appears in Lawrence Stern's 1759 English novel Tristram Shandy. Tristram, 5 years old at the time, starts to urinate out of an open window for lack of a chamber pot. The sash falls and circumcises him. His family reacts with both hysteria and philosophical acceptance. Which is funny because they're writing about children being circumcised in 1759. Crazy. Another historical example of black comedy would be when author and playwright Oscar Wilde was destitute and living in a cheap boarding house when he found himself on his deathbed. This is a true story. There are variations on what his exact words were, but his reputed last words were, "Either that wallpaper goes, or I do." Which is funny as he's turning his death, something dark, into something light. Sigmund Freud of id, ego and superego fame, in his 1927 essay Humour, De Humour, puts forth the following theory of black comedy. The ego refuses to be distressed by the provocations of reality to let itself be compelled to suffer. It insists that it cannot be affected by the traumas of the external world. It shows, in fact, that such traumas are no more than occasions for it to gain pleasure. The traumas being turned into pleasure, dark into light. This type of comedy is very hard to do due to its involvement with the dark factors it seeks to turn comedic. If you were just to take the piss out of things like racism and sexuality, it wouldn't be very funny, not particularly. It takes a great filmmaker like Martin McDonagh or Chris Morris to bring out the humour. Let's take a look at how two films pull it off with flying colours, those films being Four Lions and In Bruges. An important factor to discuss is that these movies are both British movies, with British actors and British directors at the helm. Why do I emphasise the fact these movies are British? Well, British humour lends itself more to the conventions of black comedy, as British humour is very self-depreciating and dry compared to the more uplifting tone in American comedies. So let's take a look at our first film, Four Lions. Four Lions was released in 2010, was directed by Chris Morris and stars Riz Ahmed, Kayvan Novak and Nigel Lindsay, and focuses on terrorism. Terrorism! Not the most funny of topics. Yet, Four Lions' satirical take on documentary style of fiction lends itself particularly well to the genre of black comedy. Hang on a minute. Dark comedy? What the hell is dark comedy? Oh, right, okay, it's the same. Black comedy equals dark comedy. Sometimes black comedy movies are labelled under dark comedy, but the phrase is basically exactly the same. I think the phrase dark comedy is used because the terminology black comedy can easily be mistaken for...
So I kicked her in the pussy.
Which is fair because it's sort of in their name. Let's take a look at one scene from Four Lions where the character of Hassan is introduced.
You're surprised kids are going off to training camps?
That is not what I
So
said.
why are kids going off to training camps?
Right, well, first off, I object to the term training camps.
You just used it.
No, I did not. It's a Western fantasy. You people think of Muslims running around the mountains with guns and bombs. Yeah, that'd suit you down to the ground, wouldn't it?
But they do exist, don't they?
I'm not saying they don't exist. What I'm saying is, if you'll listen, is that if they didn't exist, you people would have to invent them.
Absolutely rubbish. Yeah, man. Yeah. Man, this whole debate is twisted,
We'll
man.
take questions later,
no,
please.
No, man. You think we're all bombers, don't you?
That is absolutely...
No. When you look at someone like me, you think bomber, right?
Yeah, you do. That is not the case.
So why shouldn't I be a bomber if you treat me like one?
Mashallah, brother.
Yeah, mashallah. Yeah. And the mujahideen, and I'm making a scene. Now you're gonna feel what the boom boom means. It's like Tupac said, when I die I am not dead. We are the martyrs, you're just smashed tomatoes. Allahu Akbar!
Mashallah, brother!
Oh, what, man?
Stupidity and flawed characters in black comedies are key. We make light of terrorism with pop culture references, such as the mention of Tupac. The characters themselves are so over the top and almost a parody that their attribution to something as dark as terrorism helps create the humour. Let's look at the technological aspects of Four Lions. Cinematography. Four Lions is filmed in a documentary style, very similar to the popular TV show The Office. This style lends its hand to comedy and also positions the audience to feel part of the scene, like we're peeling back the curtains to see behind the scenes. Actors. The actors in Four Lions are fully dedicated to the material, which is a sign of a great director. And are taking the characters so far into the concept of parody that the concept that these men are planning to commit terrorism seems absolutely ludicrous to the audience.
Can I have 12 bottles of bleach, please?
Yeah, I know what that sounds like. Give me another one.
In Bruges. In Bruges was released in 2008 and was directed by Martin McDonagh and stars Colin Farrell, Brendan Gleeson and Voldemort himself, Ray Fiennes. The film focuses on two hitmen who have to depart to Bruges, a town in Belgium, to hide from a job gone wrong. Now, what is a job gone wrong? Well, Colin Farrell on his first hit accidentally kills a child. A child! The backstory fills the film with this underlying dark tone where the comedy really is allowed to take hold. Let's take a look, or first of all, let's look at my favourite line of dialogue in any movie ever.
Ken, I grew up in Dublin. I love Dublin. If I'd grown up on a farm and was retarded, Bruges might impress me, but I didn't, so it doesn't.
The movie was created by Martin McDonagh, who based the movie off a trip when he went to Bruges.
Canals. By the middle of the second day I was bored out of my head because there's not an awful lot to do apart from go to the churches and the museums. So I just wanted to get drunk or get laid or anything. And that kind of became two characters in my head, the culture lover and the drunken whore.
The characters are flawed, they're not particularly likeable, even with a face like Colin Farrell's. But no, seriously, let's take a look at a key scene here.
Harry, I've got an idea.
What?
My room faces onto the canal, right? I'm gonna go back to my room, jump into the canal, and see if I can swim to the other side and escape.
Right.
If you go outside and round the corner, you can shoot at me from there and try and get me. That way we leave this lady and her baby out of the whole entire thing.
You completely promised to jump in the canal. I don't want to run out there, come back in 10 minutes and find you fucking hiding in a cupboard.
I completely promise, Harry. Not gonna risk having another little kid die, am I?
So, hang on, I go outside, then I go which way, right or left?
You go right, don't you? You can see it from the doorway. It's a big fucking canal.
All right, Jesus, I've only just got here, haven't I? Okay, on the count of 1, 2, 3, go, okay?
Okay. What? Who says it?
Oh, you say it.
You guys are crazy.
Hey, ready?
Ready?
Set?
Set.
1, 2, 3, go!
The lady who owns the hotel where they're staying represents how the audience feels to these characters. They're so ridiculous in their premise and the dialogue, and the movie is acknowledging that with the secondary character. Morality is presented in this scene and makes light of the fact that these men are literally fighting each other to the death through the dialogue, conveying the lunacy of it all. Cinematography. Here, the cinematography is much more cinematic in comparison to Four Lions, which helps with the production values and obviously affording actors like Colin Farrell and Ray Fiennes. But the shots and colour palette employed are generally beautiful, highlighting the beauty of Bruges, a stark contrast to the flawed and dark characters presented. Actors. Colin Farrell absolutely kills it in this movie. Kills it. His comedic range, along with Brendan Gleeson's, are really the stars of the movie. You can tell they both love the material.
But the script was so good it kept revealing itself to us.
And it's evident in both their performances. Now, this type of humour in today's society is known for causing a variety of offence. Here is a review of Four Lions.
Cheap and cruel poke at a serious issue. What a ridiculous, shallow and insensitive film. The film glamorises the growth of mainly Pakistani terrorists in the ever-expanding Asian ghettos in Britain. This is not funny. I'm sure the people who suffered in these awful events would not find this one amusing. It's a bit like making a film about the serial killer Mara Hindley and saying, oh, it's just comedy, blah, 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 blah.
Four Lions, in my opinion, doesn't challenge any fundamental principles of Islam. The film deals with Muslims who have a deviant interpretation of the religion, and it satirises those who kill themselves in order to murder others. If there's some fear that the film will demonise Muslims, the film focuses on the extremist Muslim, and then turns them into a parody. The genre of black comedy itself is a very niche market. Let's take a look at a few more films in the genre, such as the movies of Shane Black. Movies like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and The Nice Guys are both great movies, and they're most certainly black comedies. By definition, they are funny and they deal in dark subject matter, leading them to be black comedies. Both movies focus on murder and corruption, with lead characters with questionable morals and attitudes, such as the homophobic character of Robert Downey Jr. in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Now, these films don't do particularly well in the box office, which is a damn shame to see, as I believe they create an introspective and intricately detailed form of comedy, and are some of the most well-realised and entertaining films out there, shining light on topics mainstream media does not want to address. If you like this video, subscribe to my channel, or don't, I don't really care, do what you want, fucking, yeah.